When Dying Light 2 was first revealed during E3 2018, the developers at Techland promised lots of new and exciting additions compared to the original entry. It truly felt like they were going to revolutionize the meaning of a sequel, and the hype surrounding the game was massive. However, upon its initial launch in 2022, the gaming community was rife with discussions of its various design choices and how the game failed to live up to expectations. One of the most fundamental aspects of Dying Light 2 is the parkour system, which is intricately woven into every other facet of the game and significantly impacts the overall experience. Unfortunately, the parkour system has had its ups and downs, and to be honest, at first it was overpromised and under-delivered. But the developers behind the game did not leave their game behind and have supported it properly throughout the past year and made lots of changes to some of the game's core mechanics. I'm the Folk, and in this video, I will take a look at parkour in Dying Light 2. Dying Light 2 had a less than stellar launch, marred by a variety of issues that detracted from the overall experience. Players encountered numerous bugs, and the game's balancing left something to be desired. However, perhaps the most significant problem was the parkour mechanic, which felt unrealistic and disconnected from the game world. The game takes place in Villador, which is a stark departure from the gritty, realistic environment of the first game's Haran. The departure is not limited to the color grading and looks of the world, but also how much detail and care went into the environment as well, which should be one of the major aspects of a parkour-focused game. Every time the protagonist of the game, Aiden Caldwell, jumped, it felt unnaturally long, and the weak gravity further detracted from the sense of immersion. This in return has made the parkour feel floaty and imprecise. Players complained about unresponsive controls and were unable to feel a sense of risk when performing impressive moves, and as a result, decision-making mid-air became tedious and unexciting. Since its release, Techland has been trying to improve the game with quality of life updates. Therefore, they have completely reworked the entire parkour system, and now it's more akin to the first game. One particular addition is the capability to switch between the old floaty parkour, which is referred to as the assisted parkour, and the new version, which is called physical parkour. This change has completely overhauled the gameplay experience, offering players a more immersive and engaging adventure. Techland did an excellent job with the animation work in this game. The movements are smooth and it feels satisfying to execute different actions. The animations do a great job of conveying emotions and the level of detail is impressive. The use of camera wobble and motion blur along with the characters panting adds to the overall experience. Additionally, the developers have continued to add more animations to the game post-launch, which is always welcome. The game presents a total of 24 parkour upgrades. However, certain upgrades appear redundant and misplaced. For instance, Aiden, a character who already possesses a fundamental understanding of parkour, should not need to learn how to sprint. This particular design aspect may come across as peculiar or even contradictory. Since parkour is a core mechanic in the game, exploration becomes an important topic. Dying Light 2 is an action RPG, and it comes equipped with some of the renowned features of the genre. One of those features is level-based areas and activities. When it comes to completing different tasks, this becomes a limiting factor as you're constantly running the risk of either going somewhere under-leveled or not having enough experience completing puzzle platforming sections such as windmills or radio towers. On the other hand, running across the map and free roaming is such a fun thing to do since it's so satisfying to take over different obstacles. Music accompanies players until they're stationary. This is a neat little feature that we saw in Marvel's Spider-Man as well, that adds to the overall experience. However, music becomes more intense during the nighttime, especially when you're being chased by a volatile or a group of virals, and in my opinion, the nights in this game is the best time to prove how skillful you are. Dying Light 2's game world is comprised of two major areas, namely the old Villador and the central loop. For parkour enthusiasts, the old Villador is a dream come true, as its shorter buildings offer plenty of opportunities to chain moves and maintain momentum. However, once players venture into the central loop, they will encounter a variety of towering buildings and skyscrapers. While this may be a less attractive option for some, it certainly adds a new level of challenge to the game, both for the developers and the gamers. As players progress through the game, they may find themselves pondering whether any fresh mechanics are awaiting them in a new obstacle scenario. Fortunately, this particular environment comes equipped with distinctive mechanics that truly set it apart from the rest of the game. For instance, players can now use a paraglider to soar through the city, provided that they have upgraded it properly. Additionally, the grappling hook will also aid players in traversal. In contrast to the first game, the grappling hook in Dying Light 2 operates solely on physics and does not attract players to their desired location. Therefore, it's crucial to coordinate your grappling moves as you run the risk of collapsing onto the ground. However, it's disappointing to witness Techland significantly altering one of the most enjoyable tools from the previous game. Now that I've mentioned it, let's discuss the design of the central loop. Due to the tall buildings, vertical movement is crucial in navigating the map, with paraglider, grappling hook, lifts, ropes, air vents, bags and jump pads being essential. The majority of the buildings have railings, platforms or monkey bars on their sides, allowing players to climb and travel through the city from a higher vantage point. Moreover, some of these buildings have broken windows that players can enter to use as shortcuts. However, the biggest problem with this concept is how it has been executed. Parkour in Central Loop is not as smooth as it is in the old Villador, mainly because of the game's pacing. To enjoy the game more in its second half, it is recommended that you unlock and upgrade all the necessary pieces of equipment which happen really late in the game. Combining that with every parkour related skill will allow players to have more fun traversing through the city. But in contrast to the first game, the lack of variety in Dying Light 2's world can become disappointing, as the same buildings and interiors are repeated frequently. This takes away from the excitement of exploring the game's world with parkour to discover new and exciting spots on the map. Therefore, it's not as memorable as the original game. The parkour in this game is easy to learn but challenging to master. Combining all the moves and tricks to create a fast and cinematic moment can be quite difficult, but it becomes enjoyable once you get the hang of it. It's worth mentioning parkour is not necessarily limited to movement, as players can use it to combat enemies as well. Yet even here, there have been lots of lacking elements and compromises too. Sadly, there aren't many combat-focused parkour moves in the game, and the ones available don't create a special dynamic either, and players often find themselves not performing most of those moves. Perhaps the best one in my opinion is jumping over the zombies, which again feels nerfed and less accessible compared to the first game. The game features lots of parkour challenges, which is a plus since they challenge players in a very gamey manner to use every skill and trick to set the highest record possible. But adding more of them with the Bloody Ties DLC was not a great idea, and makes every single one of those new challenges fall a bit flat in my opinion, as they didn't add anything new and were basically more the same thing. Overall, the progression towards unlocking new abilities and utilities, which is necessary to enjoy traversal in the second map and crucial to partake in some of the game world's activities, is slow. The repetition in building structures and interiors is still present in the game, and it kills the whole idea of exploring the map via parkour. It's not that useful to take advantage of Aiden's parkour skills in combat scenarios, and I don't find most of them very effective either. Techland has added many important things to this game to improve many of its different aspects, but currently some other areas still need hammering down. I believe fixing them would make Dying Light 2's parkour a much better mechanic, even better than its predecessor. Thank you for watching this video. If you liked the video, please leave a like, subscribe and tell your friends about the channel. Until the next video.